Welcome. This is Richard Hosnout, and I want to welcome you to Innovation Best Practices, where every episode is designed to help you sell more and make more using only proven innovation best practices that I believe can work for virtually any business and any innovation need. I want to give a special welcome to our listeners around the world, now more than 104 countries. Welcome back. Today we're going to be having an episode that goes in a very different but very relevant when it comes to innovation best practices direction. This is a book by Daniel Pink, and this is one of those, I'm very selective of the books that I bring into these episodes. And this is a very, very intriguing book that if you are at all interested after hearing this episode, I urge you to read the book in more detail. It's pretty darn good. It's very optimistic about where the future is going. So this episode, the author describes how we're moving from the information age, which all of us know that we've been in, into what he calls the conceptual age. And part of this change is an evolutionary shift to greater right brain capability. With this shift comes the major development of 6 new senses, which we'll cover in this episode. And all of this development of a whole new mind, his words, and I think it's very right, has significant implications for the future of innovation and positive implications. So let's talk about one of the things that he talks about early in the book, which is in a real trend towards increasing right brain capabilities. Now, the left brain specializes in text, T-E-X-T. The right brain specializes in context. Very big difference. And meaning the right brain is far more expansive. The left brain analyzes the details. The right brain synthesizes the big picture. Now, we need both. We need both. But if you had only one, you'd want to start with the big picture and then work out the details. So right brain helps synthesize the big picture. The left brain is sequential. First it does this, then it does this, then it does that. The right brain is simultaneous. Sequential versus simultaneous. A whole bunch of stuff going on in right brain activity. Innovation benefits greatly from understanding context, the big picture, and the ability to simultaneously process multiple inputs. So this trend towards increased right brain capabilities is positive. Well, the information age was largely left brain based. The emerging conceptual age is largely right brain based. The author states, and I quote, "Aptitudes so often disdained and dismissed, artistry, empathy, taking the long view, pursuing the transcendent, will increasingly determine who soars and who stumbles. It's a dizzying but ultimately inspiring change." Wow. And I think the author's right. Here's evidence of change. Quoting from the book, "Visit any moderately prosperous community in the advanced world, and along with the plenteous shopping opportunities, you can glimpse this quest for transcendence in action. From the mainstream embrace of the once exotic practices, such as yoga and meditation, to the rise of spirituality in the workplace and the evangelical themes in books and movies, the pursuit of purpose and meaning has become an integral part of our lives." And I've had pretty much a front row seat to this, because as I've talked to you a little bit, particularly in an earlier one of my personal notes on creativity, meditation has been a very, very important part of my life for decades, and the associated spirituality that comes along with it. And I've seen it move from "you do what" to "oh yeah, I know what that is." And we're now calling a lot of this mindfulness. So a lot of evidence. Here's some more evidence. People are increasingly gravitating to conceptual educations. For example, Harvard's MBA program admits about 10% of applicants. That's a pretty fine filter. UCLA's Fine Arts Graduate School admits only 3%. That's how tough and how much in demand that school is. McKinsey, a great consulting company, in the mid-1990s, 61% of recruits had MBA degrees. Boy, did they ever. I'm not only surprised that it's not greater than 61%. In the early 2000s, it had dropped to 43% and has moved lower since then. Graphic designers outnumber chemical engineers 4-1. Now, as some of you may know, besides being in the innovation business, I also own a very successful graphic design company called Blue Sage Creative at bluesagecreative.com. So got a front row seat to this one too. Over a 20-year period of time, creative writing Masters of Fine Arts programs increased from 20 universities to 240 in the United States. Now that's growth and interest. Okay. More evidence of change. IQ, which is a measure of intelligence and is primarily a left brain measure, accounts for about 4-10% of career success. 4-10% of career success. In fact, there are some professions, especially senior leaders, where high IQ has a negative correlation with success, which means the higher your IQ, the less likely you are to be successful. Just think about that for a moment. I'll tell you, as you know, I've spent 16 years at Procter & Gamble and 10 at Gallo as an executive, and I have no quarrel with that statement in any way, shape, or manner. Now, okay, if IQ isn't so important, what is? Well, it's what we call EQ, emotional intelligence, has a very high correlation with success, especially in professions requiring leadership and innovation abilities. Daniel Goleman's seminal book on this, on emotional intelligence, and a bunch of others around it. If you're not familiar with emotional intelligence, you should, in my opinion. Okay, we're going to get into the new senses that are developing, the right brain senses, and the first one is design. And the author says not just function, but also design. We're going past just function, but going to great design. In today's world, it's almost a given that good products will have about the same technology, the same price, the same performance and features. Design becomes the competitively differentiating factor influencing marketplace success. You want evidence of this? Just take a look at Apple. They weren't the only ones in the tablet business, and after they got into the tablet business, they weren't the only ones in there. I mean, big companies like HP introduced a tablet, and I swear within 60 to 90 days they were out of business on it. Design. And design's not just how something looks, but it's also design of the functionality and how things work together. Design is a big idea. Quoting from the authors, design is a high concept aptitude that is difficult to outsource or automate, and that increasingly confers a competitive advantage in business. Amen. Okay? This is higher level thinking and ability. It truly is. So, one of the big developments that comes with the right brain development and greater right brain presence in our culture is design. Second one is story, not just argument, but also story. Cognitive scientists said, quote, narrative imagining, story is the fundamental instrument of thought. Boy, especially in recent months and certainly the last year, I've become far, far more appreciative and understanding of the importance of story. Story ties things together. It's not just a series of freestanding bullet points that we're so often seeing. And quoting again from the author, story exists where high concept and high touch intersect. Story is high concept because it sharpens our understanding of one thing by showing it in the context of something else. Story is high touch because stories are always pack an emotional punch. Okay? So story is the second sense. Third one is symphony. Not just focus, but also symphony. Quoting the author, symphony is the ability to put together the pieces. It's the capacity to synthesize rather than analyze, to see relationships between seemingly unrelated fields, to detect broad patterns rather than to deliver specific answers, and to invent something new by combining elements nobody else thought to pair together. Okay? Symphony, the capacity to synthesize, another higher level brain function. And that's where we're going. Synthesis and integration is terribly important in the success of innovation. Next one is empathy. Not just logic, but also empathy. Quoting from the author, empathy is the ability to imagine yourself in someone else's position and to intuit, use your intuition, what that person is feeling. It's the ability to stand in other person's shoes. It's to see with their eyes, to feel with their hearts. It's something we do pretty spontaneously, an active instinct rather than the product of deliberation. Very well said. And another point here, empathy is at the heart of emotional intelligence. So, third one coming with right brain development is empathy. Long overdue. Next one is play. Not just seriousness, but also play. Quoting from the author again, play is emerging from the shadows of frivolousness and assuming a place in the spotlight. Humor is showing itself to be an accurate marker for managerial effectiveness. Let me say that again. Humor is showing itself to be an accurate marker, definer, if you will, for managerial effectiveness. Emotional intelligence and the thinking style characteristic of the brain's right hemisphere. And joyfulness, as exemplified by unconditional laughter, is demonstrating its power to make us more productive and fulfilled. Close quote. Boy, you may want to listen back to this. Play is important. There was a time, and I certainly was in business at that time, when managers would say, hey, business is serious stuff. Let's cut out the laughter and stuff here. Okay? It's serious stuff. Now, those of you that have listened to Quantum Idea Generation, you know that in one of the four elements is reducing fear and creating a sense of positive energy in play. And we go to great lengths to create a playful experience in generating ideas. It absolutely brings out the best in people, okay? Joyousness, as exemplified by unconditional laughter, is demonstrating its power to make us more productive and fulfilled. Remember that. Okay. Next one, meaning. Not just accumulation, but also meaning. Viktor Frankl, one of the great early scientists of the mind and purpose and meaning, said people have enough to live, but nothing to live for. They have the means, but no meaning. Again, people have enough to live. We've got enough food for the most of us. Most of us are blessed with that, but nothing to live for. They have the means, but no meaning. Having meaning and purpose in life is critical to emotional, psychological, and physical health. Now, a major megatrend is multidimensional spirituality is the greatest and almost hidden megatrend of our time. Just read the latest megatrend book and others, and you will find this out. It's interesting to me that when you look at all the data on spirituality as a megatrend, boy, the data is really there. You don't see it as much in the media. In fact, it's hard to find it in the media. So it's an interesting thing. Greg Easterbrook, a journalist, said something very interesting. He said, and I quote, "A transition from material want to meaning is in progress on an historically unprecedented scale involving hundreds of millions of people. and may eventually be recognized as the principal cultural development of our age. And he's right, in my opinion. We're moving from a materialistic focus to a focus on meaning, and that meaning is increasingly expressed in spiritual terms. Now, spiritual is a big umbrella, and there's lots of writings on this. It includes both people who are religious, people who are spiritual but not religious, and a wide variety of other approaches. So this is not trying to make spirituality a small subject. It's people who would consider themselves spiritual, who would consider themselves religious, and some who would consider themselves neither, but have a set of ethics and purpose in their life that, if they were to look at it, happens to be very spiritual, but they don't express it that way, and that's absolutely fine. Okay? So here's some concluding thoughts of mine. The development of a whole new mind is a very, very promising development for innovation. The development of the 6 major new senses, design, story, symphony, empathy, play, and meaning, will all accelerate the rate and quality of innovation. Quantum idea generation already embodies many of these critical new senses. In your innovation programs, you want to find people who are already demonstrating whole new mind capabilities, and consider putting them into leadership roles. Again, Daniel Pink's A Whole New Mind. If you're intrigued by this, I urge you to read the full book. If you'd like more innovation best practices, just go to my website, i2ge, that's the letter I, number 2, ge.com. On the left-hand side of the menu bar, click on DIY Innovation Training. You'll have a whole bunch of training programs that will come up. If there isn't one that meets your exact needs, just send me an email, and I'd be glad to tailor a program for you. Here's what I'm trying to do with this. I'm trying to make you innovation self-sufficient. These training programs can save you tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars by being able to do it yourself instead of having to hire expensive consultants like me and others to do it for you. Second, I've published 6 books. One of them is Proven Practical Innovation That Delivers Results. It's available only on Amazon in a paperback and Kindle version. It's priced below my break-even cost, so it's a great value. If you've got suggestions, comments, or requests, I love hearing from listeners. Just send me an email to richard@i2ge.com. I look forward to hearing from you. In the next episode, I'm going to share with you a major report on worldwide innovation trends, with special emphasis on Asia and the United States. I haven't done one of these before, and I thought it would be good perspective in terms of what's kind of happening in the innovation world. There's some surprises in here, but there's also some confirmation, important confirmation of probably what you already know. So, as all of you know, I'm deeply appreciative of you taking time out of your day to listen. I look forward to reconnecting with you soon. Until then, please have a great day.